Hello, I'm R. Joshua Collins, the founder of the Facebook group Homeless Advocates for Christ. And I just have a concern regarding some of what the Anaheim police have been doing. Recently, a 59-year-old woman had all of her property taken from her, and she left her property for a little while with some friends. And Officer Edgar Hampton actually took all that property. And
Sir, you know, we oversee the Sheriff's Department, not Anaheim Police. That's the City Council.
yeah, well, I thought that the county might be able to help a little bit with this. Not really.
Not with Anaheim.
No. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know what you can do with. How about Santa Ana?
No.
Nothing. No.
Sheriff only.
Sheriff only. Oh, okay. Well, I guess how about the boardroom here? Can you do anything about the boardroom?
Of course.
Rules? Okay. Here's one thing I noticed.
Are we on a fishing expedition? Or?
No, not really. There was actually I wrote this on my notes, but there's a sign here that says there's no backpacks allowed here, and homeless people oftentimes have backpacks. Homeless people, of course, they have sleeping bags, things like that. And if they want to be involved in government and things, it makes it very difficult for them to be involved if they can't bring their belongings with them. A lot of times there's no storage or anything like that. So it's kind of a gentrification in a way of this boardroom when you say no backpacks. So I would encourage maybe a change there. Maybe they could find somewhere to put those things, but it's very difficult. Thankfully, I have friends that help me in this ministry work to leave my things while I go out and do what I do, but not everyone has that. Some want to be involved, so something to consider. And I know that AB 718 passed the right to sleep in cars. I don't know if you guys know about that for the state. You know about that? Maybe not, but the right to sleep on the sidewalk, or I guess that really isn't probably legal here in the county, statewide or countywide or whatever, but something I'm hoping to see changes, that sleep will be legalized for people also that don't have cars, or homes, of course. So I don't know if you can help with any of that. Maybe you can. I just had a meeting with the mayor of Anaheim for about an hour, just regarding some of what the police were doing and some of these other issues. But if you guys like to have a meeting in the future, just let me know, I guess. My number's on the speaker card there. And if you have any ideas how we could maybe do more for the homeless, that I could help with, or any meetings I should go to, I'd love to hear about that too.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Next speaker, and just for the last speaker, I think if you go to probably an hour or an hour and a half into our board meeting this morning, we talked about the situation for probably a good 45 minutes. Oh. And hopefully it'll be very insightful. Go ahead, please.
Okay, yeah, I know there was a meeting regarding the shelter in Kramer which was canceled, and the community actually is having a meeting tomorrow for their people there. So we're going to be there, and I guess you have been. Do you know about that?
I've been invited, but I'm not attending.
Okay, well, we're going to be there because I know they have like 500 petitions of that, and we're just going to bring in a common sense of why the shelter should be there, and instead of not, what they're scared about is that there's only going to be one shelter for the whole Orange County, which they feel that all these homeless are going to come from everywhere, which is not the case. Anyways, I do have a video here. I don't know if you could share it with everybody. It's over-criminalized, which Utah and San Antonio has implemented Homes First, which they have actually saved tax money over millions of dollars a year, and by this year they're practically going to be no homeless there. So it's already implemented. So I think we've been pushing for safe zones in Anaheim, because there's veterans and there's elderly people, there's disabled people out there, that are in harm's way. Not only the criminal, people that are out there that are using them, but also with these policies that are unconstitutional practically, because the police go overboard. Their belongings with them when they get ticketed and they get taken away, when they have it on them, it infringes on their Fourth Amendment right. And so the policy is not about that. It's about them leaving their property unattended. But anyways, we're trying to fight. Time after time we come and try to let the city council do some kind of safe zones, because they are parking lots there. I mean, a lot of them, I've been interviewing a lot of them, and they're willing to go to a safe zone, and they like safe zones where they could just, because they're like a little community here and there. If they could have that in every city, I don't think the community would come outrage when, you know, when there's only going to be one shelter. And that's why the reason why the community is all outraged regarding this shelter. But we're going to try to make some sense out there tomorrow. And hopefully we get more people out there to, you know, to advocate for that. But we're just here for, you know, just to let you know. But anyways, I'll leave this video with you.
Yeah, please do, if you give it to this young lady.
My name is Frank Woodard. I live in Yorba Linda, and I'm an attorney in Orange County. Currently, I just do pro bono work for the mentally ill. Been an advocate for the mentally ill for many years. Recently, I represented a client in front of the Orange County Housing Authority. My client would be a constituent of Supervisor Lisa Bartlett. My client is a senior citizen with serious disabilities, specifically schizophrenia chronic paranoid type, a thought disorder that is one of the most debilitating diseases on the face of the earth. That's per the World Health Organization. I think it's one of the top 10. My client has managed to live independently with treatment for 11 years on a Section 8 voucher in a stable environment as a model tenant with no previous Section 8 voucher violations, no criminal convictions. My client's been able to give back to Orange County through participation in various county programs, such as crisis intervention training for law enforcement officers, Consumer PAM. It's called CIT training. I hope you've heard of it. My client was evicted and lost Section 8 eligibility based on an investigation. I don't have really a lot of time to go into an investigation. We are going to pursue a judicial review of that decision. My reason for being here is a little broader. Schizophrenia is a thought disorder, and individuals living with it have the broken brain. It impacts their ability to answer investigator questions. And as a society, we don't demand blind people see, paralyzed people walk, or deaf people hear. But we do demand people with the broken brain to think logically, rationally, and in a linear way, something they can't always do, especially in stressful and intimidating environment. This condition makes them very easy targets for investigators. Give me 5 minutes with my client, I'll get them to confess to just about anything. Reliable housing is necessary for the well-being of persons with severe and persistent mental illness. Instability, especially in housing, can be a major source of stress that can trigger or worsen the effects of mental illness. And we all know what that can lead to based on recent news events. It's not in Orange County's best interest to evict long-term, stable, seriously mentally ill citizens to the street where they will decompensate and wind up either in jail, at Royale, or other facilities, stressing the capacity of those facilities and costing the county many thousands of dollars more. After my presentation, in which I emphasized my client's severe mental illness and its impact on the investigation, the hearing officer stated to me that there are 50,000 people on the waiting list for Section 8 vouchers in Orange County, and she cannot take that into consideration. I believe the hearing officer's statement is incorrect. The Supreme Court has held that disability is an argument against eviction. The Orange County Housing Authority needs to take severe mental illness into consideration when investigating and evicting those mentally ill senior citizens from Section 8 housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor.
Good morning, Chairman Spitzer and Honorable Board Member Mary Hale with the Healthcare Agency. Make sure I know.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you today about the Mental Health Services Act and our community planning process. In November of 2004, California voters approved Proposition 63, the Mental Health Services Act. What the act does is provide funding for new services for those individuals of all ages who are seriously mentally ill through a 1% tax on earned income over $1 million. The goal of all of the programs is to reduce the long-term impact resulting from untreated serious mental illness. The Act consists of 5 components: community services and supports, workforce education and training, prevention and early intervention, capital facilities and technological needs, and innovative programs. 3 of those, community services and supports, prevention and early intervention, and innovative programs, are the three components that we provide and have received funding for on an annual basis. The other two, workforce education and training and capital facilities and technological needs, were one-time allocations that the county received, and we had 10 years in which to spend those dollars. We actually have spent all of our workforce education and training funds, all of our capital facility funds, and still have remaining technological needs dollars to spend. We are able, within certain guidelines, to move dollars from community services and supports to both workforce education and training and capital facilities and technological needs. We also have the ability to move CSS dollars to our prudent reserve, which is currently at about $70 million. Annually, there is an extensive planning process on our MHSA plan. CSS is the core service component of the Act and receives 75% of the MHSA funding. Prevention and early intervention receives 20%, and innovative programs receives 5%. For 16-17, next fiscal year, as we are starting our planning process, we're projecting approximately $8 million. It may be as much as $10 million in available additional funding over the next 5 years. We look at this for 5 years because we don't want to start any program that we're unable to sustain. So based on the forecast, the projections of dollars coming in over the next 5 years, we believe that that amount, $8 million to $10 million, will be able to be sustained for the full 5 years. That 50% of our CSS funds must be spent on full service partnership, or FSP services. FSP services are those intensive outpatient services provided to individuals who are homeless or at risk of being homeless, that provide not just your traditional mental health services, but also whatever it takes to help the person and their family improve the quality of their life. So it includes things like housing. If they have medical insurance and have co-pays that they're not able to afford, there would be another example of what we could pay. Whether it's at this meeting or through written comment that you or your health aides provide to me, I do want to hear what we can do to make these programs of value. And I know, I work here too, that this area and the number of homeless folks is a challenge that we all want to deal with. So I want to hear any specific ideas or general ideas that you might have for that.
Mark, what do you?
Good morning, Mark Grefwitz, Director of the Healthcare Agency, Chairman Spitzer, Honorable Board. In addition to everything that Mary has said, I want you to know we're working now with the CEO's office. We're going to be putting on 2 extra health nurses, public health nurses that will be out there. Same issue. Do we put up a tent? Do we drive up a van and make sure that we're there? Clearly, this is an issue that's been there for some time. We look out the window. We see it every day. I experience it every morning at 6:30 when I go to the gym in the basement of Building 11. We need to do more.
I don't get this, though. Sean, you have your mic off. You okay?
You don't get that he works out, or that the...
No.
I wouldn't necessarily make that assumption that I work out either.
That's actually not what I was alluding to. Okay, our job is to take tranches of money and programs, like, you're asking us for input on CSS. But to me, how this all gets pieced together, I don't care. I know a jigsaw puzzle. I know what the picture is. After I have so many pieces on the board, I don't even need to finish it, right? We know what the landscape or the item we're looking at is. You're not going to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Our job is to come here and have a discussion about different tranches. Your job is to take whatever resources you have in those tranches and make it seamless, so that it doesn't matter who you're, like, hey, 10% are seriously mentally ill. Others have drug abuse issues. Who cares? They all need services. So why do I mean, it's your job to put those in the buckets, because that's how you account for the dollars. And all these agencies who give money are very strict and have incredible accounting because they want to know you're spending the money appropriately. That's all the back office, okay? That's how the Wizard of Oz does everything behind the scenes. The question out front is, how are we giving services? The sheriff's department has motorhomes that they deploy when we have serious incidents in this county, right? Samantha 1, Samantha 2 get deployed at serious incidents. The fire authority has command, they also have motorhomes that they've converted, and those come out and get deployed in my district all the time at Irvine Regional Park for serious fires. Why don't we have a motorhome that goes out and triages, and then people, irrespective of whether they have drug abuse or they're serious mentally ill, it's our job to have those triages in a location so that irrespective of what comes through the door, somebody in that van or that motorhome, as people are matriculating, it's like giving blood, right? I mean, you go in a Red Cross van and you queue through until you ultimately give blood, get the cookie, get the juice, and people feel you're okay to walk out. Why aren't we pulling up a van every single day and deploying services every single day? Because I'll tell you, on this prospective homeless shelter in North Orange County, you know, we're already having issues amongst jurisdictions about who's, quote unquote, who's homeless would go to the shelter if it's potentially built ever on 1000 North Kramer. Oh, no. Oh, Anaheim already has cornered the market. North County, right? They've already made it clear through various channels. Oh, no. Santa Ana, we only have 200 beds. We can't accommodate Santa Ana's issue. They're going to have to deal with that. Or San Juan Capistrano, they're going to have to deal with, like, we're already getting parochial about it, which is obviously also frustrating me. So you're asking us, I have a vision. I'm not the expert, but I don't care about CSS. Your job is to go, we have new money. We can use it here, but we have so much. Daryl Steinberg and I, like the architect of 63, he and I went to UCLA together. We were interns on the Hill together. I've known him forever. His brother's a rabbi in my district. His brother is my appointee of the Human Relations Commission. I mean, there are people who have been working on this for decades. I honestly, and it's not because I'm trying to be pejorative or insulting, I want to cut out this rhetoric about funding. That's us. That's bureaucrat speak. Just go out there and figure out how to blend the dollars in a collaborative way to serve everybody who walks through that van or that motorhome's doors. And let's stop labeling it except for our accounting purposes. Because based upon how much money I know is flowing in all these categories, we should be able to take care of that without a problem. Somebody should be able to come in, get services, a referral, a voucher, and get housing the same night. They should not have to revolve back through onto the street, but we should be able to continue in a continuum with services, drug abuse services, other things to get them back on track. So maybe, although they're the most difficult to serve, maybe either they'll get on a government program like Medi-Cal, or maybe, fingers crossed, they may get a job someday, or we might through Medi-Cal, or excuse me, through CalWorks, be able to get them something that they need to be a productive citizen, because CalWorks became very flexible. Buy them a tire for their car, get them a tune-up. What CalWorks is so flexible now, the social worker can give you a Jiffy Lube coupon to go get your oil change. That's how flexible. Like, can't we just pull all these things together, Mr. Ruffwitz, and stop talking about tranches of money?
The simple answer is yes. However, you did say that our funding sources are very restricted. We balance over 150 different funding sources at the healthcare agency each and every day. And at the end of the year, we make it work. In fact, we returned millions of dollars to the general fund last year. And in the past, we've received, sort of soft direction, don't call attention, don't bring more people into the civic center by driving the van up every day. But that's why we're here today. We're here to get direction from your board about what to do moving forward.
The homeless count, if I have my number right, off the top of my head, during my diatribe, is about 4,500. That's the number that's sticking in my brain. Karen, am I close? 40, okay, oh geez, okay, 43, that's a rounding error in government. Okay, so 4,500. So if we started tomorrow, we triage another set. It's going to be like the waves coming in on the beach for a while until we get some equilibrium. But to Supervisor Nelson's point, I honestly feel, I just feel this way. It's the humanitarian side, I guess, of public policy and what we do. I just feel like I don't see any visible results. I don't see any demonstrative visible dent. I don't feel like we are calming the waves down. I just feel like they come in the shore every morning, just like they do at the ocean, and you can count on them. And irrespective of the tide, they're going to be there. I just don't feel like we're making a dent, which is why I'm killing myself, honestly, to try to move this project forward on 1000 North Kramer. And there's a large part of me, because the obstacles seem to be thrown every day in this board's way, there's a large part of me who wants to just throw in the towel and say, forget it. I look at Karen Roper. I mean, I love her to death, but this project is taking its toll. So we've got to do something, man. And we've got to start somewhere, and we've got to start chipping away. If I have to wait till 16, 17 cycle for somebody to tell me what our problem is and how we need to fix it, we can't spend this many hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in this nation, especially in this state, which now has a serious commitment to this issue, and not know what we need to do. I do not need another study in another cycle to push the problem off another year to tell me that we got a serious problem. I mean, we've been doing this for eons, and we are not doing something out there for eons. So Jim Palmer has a motorhome, and he goes around all over this county. I see it all the time. And they provide services. He's a not-for-profit. He doesn't take government money because he doesn't want the strings, because he's out there. Brian Kazarian, who Supervisor Doe and I work with, who was convicted for leaking Aryan Brotherhood confidential information out of the DA's office and was convicted and went to prison, now runs the legal clinic. He's got his bar card back, and now he runs a legal clinic for Jim Palmer, providing legal services for the homeless. I mean, people know how to go out in the community and get stuff done. But I'm frustrated. It's not with you, Mary. I'm just, the bureaucratic veil that gets brought onto this conversation is really troubling to me. Where's the continuum of care? And tell me how we can get all these services without having to get bothered by the bureaucratic tranches, and figure out how to serve people, and let's start making a dent. I mean, honestly, I'll clear out the first floor of the building across the way, and we can take over the whole corner and put some of those planters somewhere else from, assessor or whoever's in that building, and take over that corner for a year or two and put our healthcare people there.
Building
and
16?
Let people queue people up and let them walk through, and let them have privacy and have curtains, and treat people with with respect and dignity like you would do any other patient, and protect them from HIPAA and all that stuff. I mean, we talk about who's going to come forward in a public place and talk about the fact they have a mental illness when other people are around. I wouldn't want to have that conversation unless it was coveted by privacy. So why aren't we setting it up to create that environment so that people can do what you normally do? You can express to somebody in your patient privilege environment what you have and what issues you have and what you need. You can tell somebody with confidence, hey, I'm using methamphetamine, I'm using heroin. I have Inderal to control my heart, and I'm taking something for my blood pressure. Oh, you probably shouldn't mix those things, and we can actually, deal with that in a professional way. I mean, we treat people in custody in our jail. We have pharmacists in our jail. We have doctors in our jail. We have surgeons in our jail. We spend more money on people who are violating society than we do on people who are just trying to make it back from a really, really tough time. Okay, I'm done. I'm really frustrated.
All right.
Don't you forget about me. Don't you forget about me.